you everyone for being here today. So these breakout rooms are really, to get together and really hear you all out and get as many comments as we can on the whole segment of East Avenue. So this is a general discussion on each segment, and the East Avenue corridor has been divided into four segments. So we will be talking for 10 minutes for each segment. So we have 10 minutes to hear your concerns on each of the four segments. So the first segment goes from, on East Avenue, goes from South Livermore Avenue to Estate Street. The second one goes from Estate Street to, just a quick second. The second one goes from Estate Street to Madison Avenue. The third one goes from Madison Avenue to North Mines Road. And the fourth one goes from North Mines Road to Vasco Road. Yes. So what we can do is to really be organized here. You to listen to hear everyone's concern. What we can do is whenever somebody wants to speak, you can raise your hand, and then in the order that we see the hands raised, I will be unmuting the person and letting them talk. And when they are expressing their concerns, Dhawal will be illustrating their concerns on the particular segment, so that we are really able to see and hear what your issues are. And once we've heard you, we will be moving to the next person who has raised their hands. Yes, Dhawal, you can take it over.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And we had one of the comment. I'll just quickly answer that. I can't find the raise hand option on my Mac. If you click on participants at the bottom, Iain, are you still not able to see an option popping on where you see the list of participants? There should be an option of raising hand. I'll just unmute you for a second and see if you were able to. Divya, can you unmute Iain? And
I can see
Iain
it.
got it. Great. Iain, I'm going to mute you again. Sorry about that. And Mary, are you able to hear me?
I can hear you, but it's very low, and the same thing for Divya. In fact, worse for Divya.
Sorry about that. Is it better now?
A little.
I'll try my best, but this is the best I can do right now. Sorry about that. And so we are clear with the unmute and mute options. I'll just quickly go through so this is the first segment that we are going through as described by Divya. And it's about, so once you say any location that you have particular in problem, then I'll just mark it down. Let's, for example, take, I'm just marking it out on the white space so that it doesn't interfere with you guys. So let's say I just make that red line, and then you could just say that, hey, I have an issue here with parking space, and I can just write that down for you like that. So you guys are able to see my screen, right? Give me a thumbs up or something. Okay, I see a few thumbs up, and that's pretty good. So, all right, I'll clear that. And so can you, if you guys can start raising your hand, or maybe if you could just raise your hand on the video, because I could see few of the people on the video directly. So I have Iain asking to.
So we have Iain. Yes, Iain. I am asking you to unmute. And yes.
Yeah, I'm on mute.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I have issues all the time at Maple and East Avenue, 7th at East Avenue. When I'm crossing in this crosswalk across East Avenue, cars coming west are often do not stop and do not slow down when I'm crossing there, and I've almost been hit multiple times. Part of it is that they can take the corner pretty quick because it's not a hard 90-degree angle. And I think part of it is they're just not looking for pedestrians enough. I'm not sure all of it, but there's, you know, it's many times. I cross there almost every day when I run, so. But.
All right.
So this is cars just not stopping.
Cars not, yeah. All right, I'll just add that as well on the same. All right. Is there anyone else that would like to go ahead after that? I see Robin raising hand through a video, if you would unmute her, and Mary as well. Okay.
I go first?
Yeah, Robin, you are first.
Yeah, Robin, please go ahead.
A couple of things. I'd like to reiterate that corner at Maple and East Ave. I cycle there regularly, and it's sometimes the light will trigger for me and sometimes it won't. So if I'm coming down Maple and I need to turn left, I'm often at a point where like I might have to turn left on a red because I can't get that light to turn. And other cases when I'm driving and I'm going down East Ave, there's a lot of extra space there. Like that, the right lane is really big, which is part of the reason why people can turn so fast there. So I'll be stopped at a red light and I will have cars passing me on the right side to turn right when there's not an extra lane there. So that's a problem both for bicyclists and for drivers and anybody who's going through that crosswalk.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the other, which I'll say for each one of these segments, like I live near Robert Livermore Park, and I don't ride my bike downtown. And I'm a strong cyclist. I cycled in many cities and very comfortably, but it's kind of dangerous, particularly if you know lanes are big and people are driving pretty fast and there are no bike lanes. So unless you're very comfortable taking the lane as a cyclist, it's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Robin, do you use the sidewalks in that particular situation for driving, or do you use the travel lane, like the car lane for driving?
The sidewalks are not smooth enough and they're not large enough to have a cyclist and pedestrians. So if I'm on the sidewalk, not only is my flow obstructed significant, but then I put pedestrians in danger being on a bike trying to do that.
All right. So you usually use the car lanes to go through, right? All right. So we'll move on to next
Thank
question.
You. Yes. Now we have Randy, and I'm unmuting you, Randy. Please go ahead. Hello, Randy. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Randy Simpson. Sorry about that. First, I'd like to comment on your first chart. You had a picture of bicycles in a crosswalk with pedestrians, and that's a recipe for disaster. Bicycles are moving vehicles, and you don't want to blend them. I've been riding my bicycle for 30 years, commuting nearly every day, the whole length of East Avenue, and I've been hit 3 times. And a couple of comments. One of them is bicycles are moving vehicles. You don't want to put them on sidewalks with pedestrians. And you need to consider protected bike lanes the entire length of East Avenue and beyond. And until you do that, you're really not going to be protecting cyclists. The other thing is it is unreasonable to expect drivers to change their behaviors in terms of their concentration until we have fully autonomous vehicles. I would recommend that you look at cities like Copenhagen and other regions that have demonstrated the only way to go to really a safe, efficient commuting route is through protected bike lanes, and that may mean removing a car lane. Bike lanes are traffic lanes, car lanes are traffic lanes. Consider removing a traffic lane, the whole car lane, the whole length of East Avenue, and having protected bike lanes. I would also finally wrap up tomorrow. I would recommend everybody in the city get on their bicycle in the morning about 8 o'clock, 8:30, ride the length of East Avenue and get the experience. Look at all those construction trucks. I have loads of photographs of East Avenue. I'd be happy to share them with your group there so you can see the hazards that are presented to cyclists. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Randy, let me ask you one thing before we move on. Do you usually bike at this particular segment, or do you bike at some other segment?
I have biked that segment for about 10 years. I've been hit 3 times. 2 of those times have been close to the East Avenue middle school or in the high school, where cars and trucks have clipped me with their mirrors. So I've been hit there. There's not enough space, and there's distracted divers by the high school, by the middle school. The other place I've been hit is up at closer to the laboratory, where a truck hit me and took me off the bike. In the bike lane, cars fault every time. Don't trust cars. Don't expect a training class to make cars better drivers. Car drivers. Actually, it's not the cars, it's the drivers. Cars are safe. The drivers of cars are not safe.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. Thank you, Randy. That was great feedback. Next, we have Mary Ferner, and I am going to ask you to unmute yourself, please. Yes. And yeah, these are our last 3 minutes. So yes.
Okay, well, I live very close to the corner of East Avenue and Dolores. I am, well, bicycle is my primary mode of transportation, and also walking. Because I'm so close to East Avenue, I can see it. In fact, I was there when the young lady was hit. I was watching the police vehicles. So I'm right in there. I cross that intersection a few times every day, and I notice that traffic speeds up going from North Livermore to eastward along the avenue, usually around 4:30 to, let's say 4 to 6. They speed up, and they're trying to make that light. And it's really crazy when you're trying to cross the street at that point. Morning is bad too. I'm afraid the traffic noises wake me up every morning. I'm thinking that if we had dedicated bike lanes there, and were forced to remove one of the traffic lanes, that it would also remove some of the speeding and the noise. At least I would hope so. The other possibility is they're not called traffic bumps. They have another name that sort of slow things down, and I'm not knowledgeable about all these devices, but there needs to be some way to slow that traffic down, because I'm seeing people violate the speed limit every day. I see the police come and do their tickets, usually at slow traffic times. I've been there for 16 years and watching. And there are people being ticketed, but it's usually at slow traffic times. When we have the commutes and people are truly speeding, they are allowed to do so. I have another concern also about the trees that obstruct sidewalk in some place. These are mature heritage trees, and I hope they can be retained, and that a workaround can be found for them.
Wow.
I'm sure I have more, but I'll save it.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much. We can now move to segment 2, Double. Thank you everyone for all your feedback on segment 1. Um,
Yeah, let me just save that.
mhm.
And all right,
So
we
yes,
are.
anybody who wants to um, give us some feedback and you know any concerns about segment 2 can raise their hands. I can unmute them and we can hear you guys out.
So I
Iain,
can see
I have
Joyce.
unmute you, and yes, you can go ahead.
Okay, so when I bike to work, I come out on Hillcrest Avenue, and just like was mentioned at the Maple intersection, the Hillcrest light does not see bikes, which leads to interesting decisions when that there's no car to trigger the light, which includes, you know, should I go hit the pedestrian button? Should I wait for a car to come? Should I just run the red light? All of which are not good options. And so, you know, the whole corridor needs lights that see bikes in order to be safe. In addition, when I bike down East Avenue towards the lab, I take the lane, and because it's not safe to dodge in and out of the parked cars. And so, you know, effectively the only way to be safe on a bike there is to use one of the full traffic lanes if you're willing to do that. And if you're not, it's dangerous. And if you are, then there's only one traffic lane. So there's no need to have two traffic lanes in parking if one of the traffic lanes is essentially a bike lane for safety.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Wow. Wow, Iain. Thank you for your feedback. Next, we have Alex Abe. I'm going to unmute you. And
Next, we can also go with Joyce after Alex. Joyce, I can see you have been raising your hand, so we'll give
Yes.
you a chance.
Oh, hello. Hi, this is Alex and Gina. Can you hear me?
yes, yes.
Okay, great. Thanks. Probably aware, but so in the mornings when you drop off students at East Ave Middle School, there is no easy way to do that. So you have to go into this loop, and cars have to stack dangerously in the middle of East Avenue to turn in to the East Ave Middle School.
Mm-hmm.
So this it's pretty treacherous because school starts to, this, you know, the school bell is about to ring, and people are making these dangerous left-hand turns into oncoming traffic in order to try and get into the parking lot of East Ave in order to be able to drop off students.
Uh-huh.
Then in the afternoons, all the students come out, and Hillcrest is a really dangerous intersection. There's cars coming from Hillcrest. There are signs that say no right-hand turn when children are present, which is a ambiguous sign. So people do make right-hand turns. There are a number of kids crowding the sidewalks, trying to get across towards Hillcrest on the northern side and crossing Hillcrest from west to east.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen kids dashing out with, you know, and traffic can't see them, and they're dashing out. It's again, they're against the light, but they're trying to catch up with people. So the whole area there, I find, is really treacherous and confusing, especially with, you know, kids around. And there's no parking or ability to drop off, which makes this traffic situation more fraught.
Yes. Yes. Those are some very great points. Thank you, Alex. We will now, I'll now unmute Joyce, and yes, Joyce, please go ahead.
I live off of Xavier Way,
and I make a left turn going west onto East Avenue several times a day, usually not from Xavier because it's dangerous. I go to the light at Hillcrest. But as early as 6:30 in the morning, I'm going westward, and there are a lot of cars who appear to be commuters from the freeway, and they're speeding, and that I find unsafe. I think eliminating one lane might make the commuters find another route. And I agree with the congestion around East Avenue Middle School, and when school lets out at Hillcrest, it's chaos because the kids don't pay attention to the traffic signals all the time. That's it.
Thank you, Joyce. Those were some great points. Yes, anybody else? Yeah, Mary, let me unmute you. Yes, Mary, please go ahead.
Okay, all right. Hang on. All right, I have friends who live on estates 1 block away from East Avenue. I do pet sitting for them, and I'm at their home a lot. And they've been complaining about cars that turn off of East Avenue onto estates at high rates of speed, and they continue at high rates of speed going north on estates, which is a family neighborhood. Again, also you see that crosswalk there. That is they are very, very close to the middle school, and there are many parents who park on estates to pick up their kids at the end of the school day. And so that particular spot between East Avenue and about a block north of East Avenue can be really dicey in terms of kid traffic and then high-speed automotive traffic with no traffic bumps to slow things down. And even when the kids are not there, it's even faster. So that's a concern. It's not directly on East Avenue, but it's affected by East Avenue.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Next we have Dan Morey. Please go ahead, Dan.
Okay, I'm wondering how far your jurisdiction covers. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I ride my bike a lot, and East Avenue just seems unsalvageable. So I'm wondering about, the picture you drew just covers so-called East Avenue corridor. I think the solution, at least for bicyclists, not sure it would work for pedestrians, is to make a bike lane that is completely separate from East Avenue. There's a bike lane sort of now that goes down Madison and then connects, you can go to the library. It's not the most convenient way to go downtown, but that's the way I go. I avoid East Avenue. Number one, there's no bike lane. Number two, they allow parking. And it just doesn't seem to me practical to try to fix East Avenue unless you want to make it 6-lane wide or something, which would probably not eliminate the speed problem. It would probably make it worse. So I don't know if you have the compass to look at things far from East Avenue as solutions, at least for the bicyclists.
Great, thank you. Next we have Tom and Erin.
Yeah, so I just want to second that everything we've heard so far sounds awesome. I love the idea of protected bike lanes, both directions, the whole length of East Avenue. I got really excited when I heard about an alternate path off East Ave, because if you look at that bike path where it shoots off of Almond Avenue. There's another bike path just a short distance to the east, and I guess we're going a little off the reservation here, but I'd really love to see those two bike paths connected, because that would create a circuitous but alternate route to using East Avenue at all. So I mean, in a perfect world, we get both, right? We get everything.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Those are some great comments. Last but not the least, we have Iain Carlin. I'm unmuting you. So yes, go ahead.
So I just want to comment that that might work for the people who live on the south side of East Avenue, but for those people who live on the north side of East Avenue, that's really not a practical solution. There's no good way to cut through the Jensen track in other areas. You're going to end up with many other unsafe crossings, like when you hit mines. And even on the south side, those bike paths run into big bottlenecks and issues. And if you add enough distance that people have to go out of their way on a bike, it adds significant amount of time. Well, a mile in a car, might be a couple minutes. A mile on a bike for a lot of people is 5 or 6 minutes. And that starts to add up really quickly. And so, I understand why that might seem to appeal to some people, but if I had to go all the way across East Avenue, all the way down there, first of all, there's not many good ways to cross East Avenue. That's part of the big problem. And the second is that, it's just really going to add significant distance.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Iain. We will now move on to segment 3. And yes, so segment 3 is from Madison Avenue to North Mines Road. And yes, we can go ahead and hear your concerns on segment 3.
Okay, so thank you. So I live on Loyola Way. So this is sort of starting to get very close to my house. The light on Loyola Way is another one that's triggered. And again, the same thing as I mentioned at Maple. Sometimes I can get that to trigger for me as a cyclist. Sometimes I can't. So I'm looking at turning left on a red. The other piece is that in order to get pedestrian crossing here, you have to trigger the light, or you have to hit the trigger, and it's not always intuitive. Like, it's not always easy to do that. So like if you're a cyclist and you're going towards the lab and you want to turn left, you can go up, but then you have to go up on the sidewalk and hit the trigger and then wait there for at least a cycle, and then you can turn. So that's really pretty time consuming, and you are in the way of the pedestrians. A couple other things here is that the lanes are very big. So people go fast. This is also where the speed limit goes up. So people on the part of East Ave that is close to the park and in front of the fire station, people end up speeding a lot there, and then they're going 45, 50 by the time they get to the 40. The other thing that I want to bring up, and then I'll stop talking here, is that this is where the bike lanes get really big. So they are almost the lane of the size of a car lane, and people drive in them, which is a problem. Particularly when people want to turn right, they will drive in the bike lane if they don't want to wait for the green light if somebody is at the stop. And even if somebody is not at the stop, they will drive in that bike lane and they will turn right and not pay attention to cyclists. I'm done now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Alex.
Before we unmute Alex, I just want to say we have been asked to come to the main room very soon, and the other thing is we would like one of you to volunteer for. So in the end, we are doing a summary, a group summary, and we would like one of the participants to do a summary for us. Should be about 3 to 4 lines about what are the issues that we have covered in our break room. So every break room will have one participant, and from our group, if you guys want to volunteer, you can either write down on the chat that you are interested in volunteering for our group. That would be great. So I'll unmute Alex now. Alex, you are on mute. Go ahead.
Hi there. Yes, just really quickly, I live on Buena Vista. Across from Buena Vista is roughly across from Buena Vista in front, between Asbury and Buena Vista is a bus lane, a bus stop that there's no way to get to that bus stop so you can commute to the middle school or to commute downtown without having to walk quite a fair distance, either towards North Mines, cross at North Mines and double back, or walk all the way down to Loyola to be able to cross safely on East Ave. So I've witnessed many people coming from Asbury, running across the street to try and get to that bus stop. From Buena Vista, if you want to commute as a child and just take the bus, you know, so you can lighten up that traffic in front of the school, you can't get there easily. Secondly, Buena Vista Ave is a really big corridor for cycling because it connects the bike lanes on Tesla. There's a great bike connection over on Almond Ave, and there's no way to get there. So from Buena Vista Ave, if you want to stay on bike trails and use the network of bike paths that we have, this is a huge gap. And lastly, I noticed that people were mentioning lighting. I think lighting, I didn't mention it before, but I'll end here, but lighting along East Ave and in this area in particular, in my opinion, is not adequate. And I'll mute myself.
Thank you. Next we have EC.
Hi. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. So my name is Esther, and I've actually wanted to speak more on Zone 4, but you know, one general idea that I have is, you know, would it be possible to have more kind of traffic law enforcement, you know, available and basically monitoring this? Because I'm just noticing that, you know, I think unfortunately pedestrians or other driver safety isn't enough of a incentive for drivers to, you know, drive safely. And so I wonder if having more traffic law enforcement that could impose fines for those who don't heed the speed limit, I think that could be a helpful deterrent because I don't think these drivers want to shell out more money than they need to. But I think it might be something we need to look into just all along the different points on East Avenue. Yeah, just because, you know, I think in Zone 4 where I live, my family, you know, I'm the caregiver for my elderly mother, and I'm always just so nervous when she's out walking, and, you know, it shouldn't really have to be that way at all, you know, just because I see cars, trucks, motorcycles just zooming by, not even paying attention to the speed limit. They're just getting to where they want to go for whatever reason. So that would be my suggestion.
Thanks, Esther, for all of the
Thank
suggestions.
you. Yes.
I'm going to mute you now.
I think we
And
have to probably head back to the main room now.
Yeah, until unless they forcefully take us to the main room, I would suggest we could keep going on. We are on the Zone 4. So,
yeah.
So until unless they
Tom and
ask us
Erin,
to, we have got a final warning.
Back to the main room. Yeah. So
I think, do we have a participant that had volunteered for the? Did we select a participant who is volunteering for the main room discussion? And Randy has just recently raised her hand. Randy, would you like to do it? I'll just unmute you now so I can.
Yes, please. I'd be happy to and honored.
All right, Randy, we have got support for you as well.
Yeah.
Thanks, Randy, and we'll
all see
start
you in
heading back.
Main room.
And All right. Thank you so much, guys. I know we weren't able to cover all the things, but you are free to give us comments on the website or any other medium, and we'll have 2 more workshops coming up. So we hope to see you there, and the dates and times and meeting details will be forwarded on the social media, the website, and everywhere, as you were able to get all these details here. And we apologize if we were not able to collect all the comments in this short amount of time. And that's pretty much it. So
Thank you,
I don't know how
everyone.
to stop break room, but
Yeah, we can all leave the breakout room and meet everyone in the main room.
all right. God bless.